as a kid, I never did get a chance to read his book series from Michael Bond, but I grew up watching his cartoon series though, especially one with the stop motion teddy bear form. So now, without further ado, I bring to you the debut feature film of everyone's favorite bear from darkest Peru, Paddington. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings my fellow YouTubers and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to y'all as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2014 British live-action animated comedy flick Paddington. Now, it was released in 2014 in the UK, but it came to us in America the following year, so I consider it to be more 2015 and not 2014. Though the film was originally released by TWC Dimension for Studio Canal, of course that was the company that really produced the film, but they just had distribution rights, TWC Dimension, before that little incident with one of its members. But I'm not going to get on that subject. The film is, of course, based on the stories by Michael Bond. Now, I did mention that I never had actually read any Paddington stories, but I had actually heard a few of them and actually seen the cartoons that came out in the mid-70s done by Filmfare, as well as I've also seen the 1989 Hanna-Barbera cartoon, which is now available on DVD through the Warner Archive, as well as I've seen a little bit of the recent Adventures of Paddington Bear that was shown on HBO Family. I've never seen the new series since that's on the Nick Jr. channel. But anyway, now the film has a pretty good cast, including Hugh Bonneville. Of course, you may know him from Downton Abbey, along with Sally Hawkins, Julie Walters, Jim Broadbent, both of Harry Potter fame, considering this was produced by Heyday Films, of course, the company that produced the Harry Potter films, David and their owner, and the company's owner, David Heyman. Okay, plus Peter Capaldi and Nicole Kidman, along with Ben Wishaw, who, before he even played the new young version of Q in, no wait, was it before? No, I'm thinking. No, after, my mistake. After he played the young version of Q in Skyfall. Whoops, I kind of got a little sidetracked, my bad. And he voices the title character. Now, I have watched this a few times, and I really do love this movie. And the film is directed by Paul King. Anyway, we start out with a little bit of a film reel about a British geographer named Montgomery Clyde, who is visiting the deep jungles of darkest Peru. He discovers a previously unknown species of bear, and he's about to shoot it to take back a specimen to the UK when a second bear playfully takes his gun away and saves his life by removing a deadly scorpion from his jacket. He learns that this family of bears is intelligent and can learn English, and that they have a deep appetite for marmalade. And the explorer names them Lucy and Pastuzo. Now, Lucy, was voiced by Imelda Staunton, and Uncle Pastuzo was voiced by Sir Michael Gambon, also from Harry Potter. As he departs, he throws his hat to Pastuzo and tells the bears that they are always welcome should they wish to go to London. 40 years later, the bears are living in harmony with their orphaned nephew, who of course that'll be the bear named Paddington, until an earthquake destroys their home, forcing them to seek shelter underground. Uncle Pastuzo fails to reach the shelter in time and is killed by a falling tree. His nephew finds his hat the next morning, and Aunt Lucy encourages her little nephew to go and find solace in London by stowing away on a cargo ship while she moves into the home for retired bears. So the young bear arrives in London and eventually reaches Paddington Station. And that's, of course, where he got his name. And there he meets the Brown family. The patriarch of the family, Henry, his wife Mary, and their two kids, Judy and Jonathan. Well, apparently, Mrs. Brown gave the bear his name of Paddington. Take him home temporarily. Anyway, Henry does not believe Paddington's story and is adamant that Paddington stay only one night while they find a place for him to live permanently. But Mary, who is an illustrator, and their kids find Paddington endearing, as does their family relative and housekeeper, Mrs. Bird. Now, once Paddington's in the Brown household, believe me, the fun begins. I absolutely love it when he makes mischief in the facilities, the bathroom. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he cleaned out his ears with that toothbrush. It's like, now, and that sort of kind of follows a little bit of like the book. Well, the book of a bear called Paddington was about, had. Um, because in the book, he actually decided to do something like that, but because he tells the two kids they they suggested he should clean behind his ears because, his ears because they're a bit black. And Paddington's like, they're meant to be black. Oh boy. Anyway, he just causes so much fun and stuff like that. Anyway, Paddington thinks he can find a home with the explorer who found Aunt Lucy and Uncle Pasuzo, but doesn't know his name. Since there seems to be no word of his expedition anywhere on the internet, Mary takes Paddington to Samuel Gruber, who runs an antique shop. And he discovers the hat bears the stamp of the Geographers Guild. But the guild says that they never sent a member to explore darkest Peru. But anyway, that happens in a little bit. But Paddington becomes a real hero when he stops a pickpocket on the way, and well, it's just so much fun to watch. I mean, and when Paddington's in the subway station on their way to Mr. Gruber's, absolutely really good. Yep. Anyway, now with Henry's help, Paddington decides to infiltrate the guild's archive and discovers an expedition to Peru was undertaken by the explorer who happened to be Montgomery Clyde. Although unbeknownst to them, the guild erased their record of the expedition, as a matter of fact, which I'll explain about that in just a moment. Now, apparently, when Henry's just not too thrilled with helping Paddington out on this, he starts giving them this. Yeah, suddenly Henry's starting to feel a little warm and hot and uncomfortable. That was a hard stare. Lucy taught him that. When people haven't learned their manners. Meanwhile, however, the hateful museum taxidermist Millicent Clyde, who captures, kills, and stuffs exotic animals to house in the Natural History Museum, is someone who's after Paddington, because that happened to be, slight little spoiler before I get to the ending spoilers, is Montgomery Clyde's daughter. When she becomes aware of Paddington, she immediately sets out to hunt him down. While the Browns depart the following day, leaving Paddington home alone, Millicent manages to get help from the Browns' nosy next-door neighbor, Mr. Curry. Yeah. Who, if you've never read the books or seen the cartoons, he always like, bear? Yeah. Doesn't quite really do this in the movie, which was a slight downside, but not too bad to take off a good amount of points, from liking this. Anyway, Millicent sneaks in and attempts to capture Paddington, but he manages to defend himself, but inadvertently starts a fire in the kitchen in the process. Disbelieving Paddington's statement of Millicent's capture attempt when he says he saw an elephant with the body of a snake, Henry states that they must take him to the authorities as soon as possible, and Mary reluctantly agrees. Now to the ending. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to stop this. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the ending, to the spot, to avoid any spoilers. Here we go. Okay, you've been warned. Sorry, I got a little tongue-tied before the countdown. Feeling unwanted, Paddington leaves and attempts to track down Montgomery Clyde himself, using the London phone book to track down the addresses of every M. Clyde in London. He eventually finds Millicent's house and learns that Montgomery Clyde died a long time ago, and Millicent reveals that he was her dad. But Millicent resents her father for losing his job and membership of the guild after he refused to bring a valuable Peruvian bear specimen home, even though it would have made his family wealthy, and subsequently opened a petting zoo. Millicent is determined to succeed where her father failed by capturing and stuffing a Peruvian bear so she can become rich and famous herself. She tranquilizes Paddington and prepares to stuff him, but when Mr. Curry discovers her true nature and intentions, he informs the Brown family and they rush to save him. Well, apparently they decide to figure out all sorts of ways to get through with the help of the kids and what have you, and with Mrs. Bird distracting the security guard with a little drinking game. Oh yeah, that's really something. Anyway, they managed to get Paddington after he escapes from Millicent through the furnace. Barely made it right to the top of the roof. Yeah, but the Browns saved him at the last minute. But Millicent catches up, and well, Mr. Brown tells Millicent that, well, they love Paddington and that he's part of their family. So Paddington had a wild idea, decided to subdue Millicent by throwing a marmalade sandwich which he keeps in his hat for emergencies at her. This attracts a huge flock of pigeons to distract her. She was starting to lose her balance and was just about to get Paddington when at the last minute Mrs. Bird pops open the roof hatch, pushing her off the roof and trapping her on a flagpole. In the aftermath, the Browns allowed Paddington to move in with their family. And as for Millicent, she was arrested and subsequently sentenced to community service at the petting zoo her father opened. Paddington writes to Aunt Lucy saying he is happy and he has finally found a home. He is later seen enjoying a snowball fight with the Browns and throws one at the camera before the film ends. End of story. Okay, that's that. So, what did I think of Paddington? I'm gonna say I absolutely loved it. It was just so incredible. Anyway, and I remember going to seeing this on my 35th birthday when it came out. This was just so much of a fun experience. It was just so cool. Let me see, yes. Yeah, anyway. I think the story is absolutely good. The cast is real good. Uh, everything in it was good. It really didn't have much of a negative. I only had a little bit of downsides, but it doesn't take away the whole amount of points I've had for this movie. I love it. I especially loved Ben Wishaw's portrayal of Paddington, Though they originally wanted Colin Firth to do the voice, but he dropped out in post-production and being replaced by Wishaw. Henry Brown is played by Hugh Bonneville. Sally Hawkins plays Mary. Madeline Harris plays Judy. Samuel Jocelyn plays Jonathan. Julie Walters plays Mrs. Bird. Nicole Kidman is Millicent. Pierre Capaldi is Mr. Curry. And Jim Broadbent is Mr. Gruber. So, anyway, I have to say, it just had a great fun feel to it. The atmosphere was good. Like I said, I didn't even really have much of a problem with this movie. Its humor is kind of a little, well, some of the humor was kind of strange. Well, once Paddington tries to get adjusted to the facilities, but hey, it's a movie, and that's all she wrote. So the question is, would I recommend Paddington? Most definitely, yes. You need to see this movie. If you have not seen this movie, I'd highly recommend you get this. I've had this on DVD for some time because I wanted to revisit this, even though I revisited it on Freeform a few years ago. But hey, after seeing the sequel, I gotta say, I knew I wanted to revisit it. Yes, this film would go on to have a sequel. However, after the little bit of an issue with the person at TWC, whose last name happened to be Weinstein, Warner Brothers got the distribution rights for the sequel. But I'll tell you about that when I review the film in a couple of days. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Paddington? Please tell me in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button below. Subscribe to my channel as well and be a part of the Big D Nation. Because I'm now at 246 subscribers. I only need 4 more to reach 250. Alright, join me next time when I bring to you my ranking of favorite songs by the one and only Garth Brooks. Now don't worry, as I said, Paddington 2 will come up in a couple of days, alright? Thank you. But anyway, thanks for watching, and if you liked this, you can check out some of these other fun-filled, well, flicks with some critters and all sorts of big characters and what have you, or just book-based characters. I don't know what you would want. But anyway, first off, in the upper left-hand corner is the back-to-back review I did for Stuart Little and Stuart Little 2, which is a book-based movie. You probably already know. Or if you want something of a cartoon character, go to the upper right-hand corner for my review of Scooby-Doo that I did earlier this year, or something even bigger from a popular children's show, go to the bottom left-hand corner for my review of Sesame Street Presents Follow That Bird, which recently celebrated its 35th anniversary not so long ago. Of course, I did that review last year, and that review's already done so well. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching my review of Paddington. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.